Welcome, punters, to another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast, Australia Oaks Day, Sydney Cup, whatever you want to call it. It's Group Ones in Sydney, and we're here to talk about it. As always, I'm joined by Maddie. How are you, Maddie?
Going well, Wim. How are you, mate?
Going well. My apologies for last week, punters. Some reason while we were recording, my internet just kept dropping out at the important times I was going to tip the card. Um, And yeah, so if you're part of the socials, you got it. If you're part of the community, you got it. But I do apologize. This stuff happens, and we're here this week to find more winners for you. How did you find last week, Maddie?
Yeah, hats off to Sydney Racing. Put on an absolute cracking day of racing, considering how much rain they had. A lot of people complaining that they potentially weren't going to be betting up there due to the track conditions, but I think after we saw the first, it was uh, back to normal. So yeah, hats off to Sydney for putting on a fantastic first day of the championships.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, there was a lot of media people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to punt there early Saturday morning." But the key was I found when I reviewed it Saturday night was they cut the grass a lot shorter, so it had time to dry. And yeah, once you cut it short, it doesn't hang around as much and absorb. And all people that love their grass would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it had time to dry, and that critical time was when it stopped. And smart decision. I wish I knew that going into the meeting, because when I checked the results and I saw a heavy eight, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, full credit to Randwick. They got it done.
Indeed, yeah, that was a very good day of racing. So hats off.
Yeah, 100%. This episode, we're going to preview all the Group Ones, bets around the grounds, multi, pineapple of the week. Maddie, unluckily, what did you have last week?
I wish I win. Yeah,
I
so
wish I win.
ran exceptionally well.
Yes.
I know a few people didn't like it first up, and I understand that, but I thought it was a class horse in the field, and yeah, quite happy with the bet. Just unfortunate not to get the chocolates on the day.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about this industry. It's just an opinion game. We're going to get more wrong than right. That's like everyone. We're all going to get them more wrong than right. But geez, when we get them right, we're going to celebrate them. But that's all right. I'm going to try the 10-week challenge again. We're going to go 10 weeks. If I get past the first, I'm going to get to the 10th. I'm calling it now. So come for the ride. If you're a first time watcher or listener on your podcast platform, welcome. Please subscribe, YouTube or any podcast platform that you do use. When we find you plenty of winners in this episode, please head over to Spotify and rate our podcast out of 5 stars, because everything we do with it, everything we do here is free. No hidden paywalls. We do it for the love of it. It takes up a lot of our time, but all we ask you to do is head over to Spotify, rate us out of 5. If you want, comment in the YouTube comments, and yeah, I can easily interact with you all. More importantly, join the WhatsApp group. Please DM one of us. We'll put you straight through. It's just a lot of fun with a group of guys just talking punt 24/7. And you have your own platform to say whatever you want, or however you like to see the races. You have a platform. It's not about just Maddie and I dictating everything and finding winners, but it's about you guys enjoying it. And yeah, there's a lot of guys that enjoy it. So DM one of us and we'll put you straight through. Talking points this week. We've got a few, Matty. So we'll start with the big one. Southside Racing, which is Cranbourne and Pakenham, have announced Saturday night racing next season as a trial period. I think it's 4 meetings they're going to do. It'll be happening over the December, January holiday season, summer season as well, which I feel is a good move to try and gain new participants, new audience, more importantly, wager turnover. But I know there was a few participants, trainers and jockeys have whacked the move, saying Thursday night, Saturday night now racing, trying to find workers to work for the stables these nights, and then back up the next day. But especially when something comes out like this or a controversial call or anything, I'd like to listen to what the trainers and jockeys have their say and what their opinion is, because I listen and take it all on board. And I just I know, like, I'm an armchair expert, and these trainers and jockeys work day in, day out in this industry. And I just, I just don't get why we're having a bit of the trainers having a whinge here. Jockeys, I understand it's cutthroat for them. They've got to try and work as many nights as they or days that they can to get all the good rides and, build themselves up to the city. Um, but for trainers, I just don't understand why they're going hard at this and saying no and really poo-pooing the idea and being negative. We know this meeting's going to be maidens and benchmark 58s and 64. So prize money is going to be pretty low. Um, for me, if I was a trainer, I just wouldn't, if I didn't like the racing or didn't want to send them to Saturday night racing, I just wouldn't enter my horses there. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to voice your opinion. You just say to your workers, hey, I'm not sending you guys to Cranbourne or Pakenham Saturday night. I want to look after your well-being. More importantly, if you want to, go and email your owners and say, hey, for the better of my staff, I am not sending my horses to Saturday night racing because I want them to have a life outside of racing. It's for their welfare. I think every owner would turn around and go, that's fantastic. I totally support your move. Not a problem. But they're jumping on social media now, these trainers, and just really whacking the industry. Anything we try as an industry, they are just so negative, and it's giving me the shits of late because they're working their ass off, Racing Vic, to try something new. And we hear it day in, day out. Oh, we need something new. We need new participants. We need new turnover. We need to get the crowd up. Well, here it is, Saturday night racing. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to go well. Turnover. It's going to create more interest, maybe more GA, hunting turnover. And yeah, I just think it's a great move. Now, most recently, in the last couple of hours, the Victorian Jockey Association and the Australian Trainers Association have both come out and have supported Saturday night racing trial. So I don't know where, there's particular trainers that jump on social straight away and they're quite negative, but I like to listen. But I just feel like there's so many ways they could go about this, and it's a 4-week period. It's not 22 weeks of the year. It's a 4-week period. I think give it a go. If you're not a fan of it, just move aside and, focus on other races. There's going to be another 22 other maidens, another 22 benchmark 58 races during the week you can attack. I don't know. Matty, any thoughts?
Like I said, a good initiative. I understand where the pushback may come from some within the industry. Obviously, that's probably their only night off to enjoy socially. So having to work that and having to find people within the stable so have to work it. Yeah, I think quite a lot of them would be supportive of it. But I think you found a fairly good workaround. If you don't want the horses running on a Saturday night, then don't enter them into those races. So yeah, look, I did like because I hadn't read that, but I did like when you mentioned that it was across the summer. Couldn't imagine it during even the spring or the autumn working too well, but across the summer, I think it's not a bad initiative.
For me, I play cricket on a Saturday. I'm getting a chance to watch races on a Saturday night. I'm going to say yes every day of the week. It fits my social life and my family life. A Saturday night, I can go down, shorts and thongs, go and watch some races, take the kids along. Hopefully, they want to be part of the racing industry, but I think it's a win-win. And I'm just really getting annoyed at trainers now, just poo-pooing anything that they can and, yeah, just being negative. All right, Matty, you've got 15 million in your bank account. You've just won Powerball. Would you spend 10 million on Winks' filly?
No. No, not at all. No. Look, I don't necessarily see the value in an investment like that, but I guess it's for those involved, it's not necessarily even an investment. So I understand how they got to that decision, but I don't think it was financially led.
What would you have paid?
Oh, geez. I won't offend anyone, so I won't actually say how much I would have paid. Wouldn't have had that many zeros. Let's put it that way.
So you weren't the underbidder at 9 mil?
Might have been a couple of less zeros than that as well.
Yeah, yeah. And
Look,
look,
it's a lucrative industry, but yeah, I don't see how they're going to get a return on that investment.
nah, and I think Debbie's bought in because she just wants to keep it in the family. Um, she's loved Winx. She was part of Winx's life. She wants to stay part of this life, which is still the Winx era. I get it, but we know, Maddie, we've been in here long enough. Group 1 winning mares don't perform in the breeding barn. It's probably the next couple of crops that this horse will produce is where they get a return. But for 10 mil, wow, look,
Mm,
even if it was 9 mil to the bloke that was bidding, which was you, Maddie, yeah, poor investment. I'm not going to bag Debbie for
yeah,
her investment, but I'll bag the 9 million underbidder. I think it was a poor investment. If I was bidding, I would have gone no more than 3 mil because
yeah. It's
that's,
an interesting one, and it's an interesting one. As you said, a couple of breeding lines down. What is actually produced?
yeah. Um, all right. Imperatriz, I think a bit of a shock
Mm,
today announced the connection. Sorry, she didn't announce an Imperatriz, but connections announced she retired. What an 18th month she had in Australia. I just feel the decision would have been hard to retire at this point in stage of her life. She probably had another season left in her of racing, probably would have snagged a couple of Group 1s, but she's off to the breeding barn. Will be interesting to see if she sells at the broodmare sales, or do they keep her? Now, Maddie, surely she reaches close to 10 mil if she goes to the broodmare sales. If Winx's off cast is 10 mil or 9.
yeah, look, I wouldn't imagine so, but look, Imperatrice when it came out last spring, just absolutely unbeatable. I think the stable did an amazing job plotting out the races for the horse, not sending it up to Sydney, not being not being I guess looped into going for an Everest. So I think they've done an amazing job. You could see when it came back for the autumn, it wasn't necessarily the same horse. I think around the valley, that's where it was absolutely suited. But yeah, very brave call by the owners and everyone involved. But fantastic to see Imperatrice, who I think was the second rated horse in the world and the
Mm.
number one rated sprinter in the world.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I'll never forgive her losing to Artorias in Ramwick that day. I think it was the Canterbury. Yep, it still sits very in my blood. So thank you, Imperatriz, for that. But no, she was a. I'm happy to call her a champion. She was awesome. Yeah, good on her. Happy rooting. Hopefully it all works out for her. And yeah, she produces well. Group 1's mares don't produce good horses, so another one I'm keen to keep an eye on. And yeah, even when they go to the sale ring, what they fetch, because could be interesting, or to yak our keep them. So yeah, interesting couple of years coming up. Obviously late today, Bluebet and Betr have merged, or will be merging to create a wagering provider capable of competing with Leviathan operators Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, and Tabcorp. Now I've stolen that off racing.com. That was their words. One thing that sort of pricked my ears here, Betr have 341,000 opened accounts, but only 110,000 active users, where Bluebet only have 67,000 active users. Now, with those numbers, are they anywhere near the big boys? Now, I don't know what their numbers are, but with those numbers, so 177,000 active users, surely that's nowhere near Sportsbet, who are number one.
Not sure. No idea how many active they would have. You would imagine a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Also interesting to see how they've rated active users. I wonder if I'm one of those active users because, yeah, the account hasn't been used in a while, but look, it might get used if we get offered a couple of those 100-to-1s again.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely in the opened account bracket. I haven't used them since the 100-to-1s. But hopefully them joining forces, Sullivan and Tripp, that they produce a number one outlet of promos and because it's not our landscape's changed. It's not a odds-based landscape anymore. It's a promo-based landscape. So you don't have a good promo, you can't be any good. That's my opinion.
Well, what I would say is we probably are after a little bit more competition. So if they can provide that, I think it will be very good for the punters.
100%. And yeah, Matty Tripp's a smart guy. So stay tuned. It'll be interesting to see where they land in the marketplace and what they bring up in the next, whenever that happens, that merge. Track stats or track numbers, however you want to call it. Randwick out 4 meters. We know last week rail was true. There were a couple of lanes off in the straight. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays on an improving track. Will they go wider than what they were, or will the fast lanes be up and hard against the rail because of where the horses were on Saturday? Bendigo, normally a day I love to bet into on a good track because it's hard and it's fast and it's close to the rail as possible wins. But the last 2 meetings at Bendigo on this day, they have watered the inside to make it lanes 1 and 2 off. So keep an eye on it. It'd be definitely a watch and act because yeah, it's going to be a good track at Bendigo for a big meeting. We're going to preview all the Group 1s at Randwick. So let's kick it off. Randwick Race 6, Australian Oaks, 2,400 metres Group 1. Matty, take it away.
Thank you, mate. Look, Orchestral obviously on top here, only $1.60 at the moment. What I would say is this horse has been up for a while. The from New Zealand over in Jerry now. Vinery stud last start over 2,000 metres up to 2,400 metres here. You can imagine the horse is going quite well. J-Mac did mention that it took a little bit longer to get up to Tutor Levetta than what he thought last start. So hopefully that was not the best of what we've seen from the horse. Look, outside of Orchestral here, Worm, the only other one that I could really take of interest would be maybe Quintessa. But look, I won't spend any more time on the race. Orchestral on top for me. Yourself?
I think this is a Orchestral's on top. I won't hide away from that. But will this be a 2-horse war like last time with Tata Levita down the straight like last start? We know what the tactics were from Tata Levita last start, but I don't think we see that again because barrier 7 for Tata Levita is a very yucky barrier because it could be 3 wide, no cover. And because they've played their hand, it's now J-Mac could be thinking, will this happen again? I think with barrier 7, I'd love to see Tata Levita lead here. I think it'll go even better. It'll be a slow tempo. He can make it a race from the 600-meter mark onwards. I think if this horse finds the front and gets a soft lead, it's going to be like what it was last start. Off and gone, chasing. Nash, not a dumb jockey, very smart operator. I just feel if he tries to go the same tactics, J-Mac, very smart operator, will be straight on his hammer. He won't let him get away with it. So I think Tata Levita is a live bet play if it finds the front early, because, yeah, you might take a bit of unders, but I don't think it wins if it's the same tactics. Orchestral. Didn't win how we thought it would win last start, but we know out the 2400, which I feel will suit it better. I don't know how any horse can turn the tables on this horse. Great barrier, perfect running in transit, no excuses. One thing I will mention, Matty, did you see like the little nudge Nash gave J-Mac after the line on Tata Levita?
Definitely did, yep.
Wow, was that I didn't really pick it up until watching the replays, and I'm it's got to be very careful, Nash. I know there's a bit of what would you call it? Not hate, but they don't respect each other. They yeah, they just don't like each other. It's plain and simple. And yeah, J-Mac had a few words for him, and Nash came flying over the side and elbows out. Fuck, he had to be careful. He could have almost dislodged J-Mac. Stewards got involved,
I think
and
J Mac had been, I think J Mac had been quite vocal about how what he thoughts on Orchestral was last start, and just thought it was absolute moral. And I think Nash was quite happy with himself getting as close as what he did.
it'd be interesting to see if the tables are turned and how Nash responds after the line. So I think that's what I'm more looking forward to after the line celebration. I thought Zardozi had its chance to go past first and second last start, which is Orchestral and Tana Levita. I just thought he was weak the last 100, which I didn't want to see for Zardozi. Autumn Angel, coming out of the B grade 3-year-old races, how do you assess it? Now it's taken on the A grades. Barrier 8, I don't know, but I have Orchestral on top. Move over to any final comments for race 6, Matty?
Mate.
Beautiful. All right. Race 7, Sydney Cup, 3,200 metres, Group 1. Matty, your thoughts?
Look, Ashron has been exceptionally good this prep, and absolutely set for this race. After last preps in Geelong Cup, fourth at Melbourne Cup, and look, absolutely primed for a good run here. Amaid, look, Mickey D, just watch out, because I think Amaid's already loosened the stirrups. He just likes a uneven ride, and the 10-year-old, look, it won the Geelong Cup and hasn't finished worse than fifth in its last 5 races, which have all been group or listed races. So, although 10 years old, Amaid definitely needs and deserves a lot of respect. And I've always been a big fan of Athabascan, and has been very consistent between that 2,000 to 2,500 metre mark, and now gets its opportunity to stretch its legs out to 3,200 metres. After starting last start at $31, I thought we would have got a little bit more value. But yeah, look, I do like Athabascan. And William, if you like Asheron at 6s, then I don't think you can rule out a horse like Lentanius and form lines like that at 16s. Has been very solid, without being sensational in the lead-up races. But William, there are a lot of chances in this field. I've nailed it down to 2 that I'm quite happy to play. Asheron, I think, has been absolutely primed for this, and I would be very surprised if this horse does not finish top 5. And the other one is Athabascan. Really confident that it can stretch out to the 3,200 metres, and I think it's going to be a big chance as well. I think around about that $8 mark. As I said, I thought it would have been a little bit more value, and that might have been the value that I found within the race, but looks like I'm not the only one to like the horse as well. Worm, what did you think of the Sydney Cup?
Yeah, very even. One thing that stood out pretty quick with me was I think I found one over the odds here, and should be a lot shorter. That's Maharajan, number 2, Mazaran. Won the New Zealand Cup over 3,200 metres. Third was Mark Twain, who came out and won the Roy Higgins 2 weeks ago at Flemington. And in that race, who backs up from the Roy Higgins into the Sydney Cup is Mostly Cloudy, $23, Major Bill, $23, Glentanius, $15, and Celino, $26. So why is Maharajan $23? This short horse should be a lot closer to a lot shorter. Should be in the teens, I reckon. So he's one that's sparked me a little bit to have a play. Barrier 16 is a concern, but at 23s, it's well worth a little each way ticket. Out of the Tancred race, the only horse I really wanted to take out of that race was Atabascan, like you mentioned, Matty. Just kept grinding to the line. Hasn't seen 3,200, but I think it won't be an issue. Out of the Chairman's race, the only horse you could take out of that race was Circle of Fire. And can see why this horse was favourite. Lovely win. Up 800 metres on the 7-day backup. The touch of the negatives. How will it handle the 7-day backup? If it does, I think it wins. And Made, well, we know what happened in the Adelaide Cup. Lost the stirrups. This horse to only go down by 3.2 was amazing. Looked a winner at some point in the Adelaide Cup, which was quite scary. Loves 3,200. Don't leave this horse out of your quads or exotics. For me, I'm going to play this as an exotics race. I'm going to play the Quinellas on the 4 horses I mentioned: Marjaran, Atabascan, Circle of Fire, and a Maid. And then I'm probably going to play the exacta, Circle of Fire to win from those other 3s to run second. Any final thoughts, Matty?
Worm, Circle of Fire. Any concerns about the jockey?
Yeah. Something
At Zini.
Yeah, can't say I've heard of him. Reckon he'd be
across from Kong.
Yeah. Again, I think I'm a broken record on this. You've got to use local talent. I don't think he's ever been to Australia. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, very weird booking.
I don't think he has.
I just don't understand it.
To be fair to the style, I think they put in sort of spin just for the fact that Dylan Gibbons had already been booked to ride. I think it's Calipour.
Yep.
After it won the Tancred.
Yep.
And then came out and won on Circle of Fire last start. So I think they were put into a bit of a tough position, and yeah, couldn't find anyone, so went for someone that they knew internationally.
Interesting. Circle of Fire is still a horse. Interesting. Yeah. No, not your standard 3,200 meter Group 1 Sydney Cup field, but adds a bit of interest, I think, because it's going to be so even, and yeah, plays your exotics because it's going to pay well, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Race 8, Queen Elizabeth Stakes, 2,000 meters. You could almost call this the Cox Plate, Matty.
Absolutely. Oh, this is definitely the race of the year so far. Really looking forward to seeing Pride of Jenny, Brightside, and Viva Sistina all in the same field. Pride of Jenny out to 2,000 metres for another crack after a fantastic run in the Australian Cup. Almost got it done. Inside Barry here, Barry number 3 is a huge plus in this starting position. Starting position, 2,000 metres, gets to the corner very quickly. So the inside barriers are definitely going to be an advantage for those who want to be up on pace, because if you get caught out wide, it's a little bit challenging to cross. Pride of Jenny won't need to do that. Declan Bates has already had some exposure at 2,000 metres now, so I think he's going to be much better for that. Mr. Brightside, look, I thought he sat too close in the Australian Cup and just didn't have the turn of foot like he usually does. He won't always hear from the white gate, barrier number 11. He's going to have to go back, and he's going to have to ride for a little bit of luck. Luckily, the field's not huge, so I think he'll still be able to go around the field if need be. Cascadian took advantage of that fast run race in the Australian Cup. Great ride by Betty Mallon to weave his way through that field and get Pride of Jenny in the last 50 metres. Look, mate, I'm expecting Kovaliga, a huge fan of the horse, to improve, but I think it could just find this a little too challenging. And finally, just on Viva Sistina. It was sensational in the Randvet, and almost looks like this horse is a step above these Australian horses. But I go back to the Cox Plate. We thought exactly the same in the Cox Plate, and the Cox Plate proved that these Australian horses are up to the best of the international talent. So I'm not going to be riding off a horse like Mr. Brightside or even Pride of Jenny in this race, mate, this has got the making of an absolute cracker. So I cannot wait to see Pride of Jenny from barrier number 3 actually get quite a distance on the rest of the field, especially those at the back like Mr. Brightside, who won't have any other option other to go back. And then you'll find a horse like Viva Sistina. It'll sit midfield, and around the 400-meter mark, Mr. Brightside will find the back of Viva Sistina, and they will go both chasing after Pride of Jenny. Now, Worm, after saying that, Pride of Jenny has got the softest run in this race from barrier number 3. They are going to need to catch this horse. I don't necessarily know if they will. And that's why I will be with Pride of Jenny in the Queen Elizabeth. Worm, how did you see this one?
Yeah, it's a ripping race, mate. I can't give Brightside any hope. I just don't think he runs 2,000 meters. He had his chance to run 2,000. Yes, he did sit a little bit closer, but everyone was asking for it to sit a bit closer in the All-Star Mile. Yes, it was up 400 meters. It's a different run race, but I don't know. I just think from barrier 11, his only option is to go back, and I don't think he'll get 2,000 meters. I hope I'm wrong, because there's nothing better seeing this horse win, because yeah, he's a good horse. But I've got to put a pen through him at $10. I couldn't even bet it back in with stolen money. I know he's double figures, and yeah, he's just a no for me. Viva Sistina is our fave, and I can see why. What a win it was last start. Sat last, pretty much ran them up in a couple of strides. I would have loved J-Mac to release the horse to its full potential last start to see what was under that bonnet, because he didn't beat the field by much, but was he only going 80%, or was that just its horse? That's where it was at. Oh, hard to assess, but I feel there was more under it. I'm confident it wins. Horses out of the Australian Cup, I think the only ones you really want to follow is Pride of Jenny and Cascadian, both terrific races. D Bates rode Pride of Jenny awesome, got everything right, just found one better. It was just a Ben Mellon masterclass on Cascadian, and Pride of Jenny wins that. And if it wins that, Pride of Jenny doesn't start 450, it starts 350. You mentioned Kovalika. Was given it was given no chance last start with the ride and the tactics. It was given, sat last, thought it ran on nicely. 2,000 meters will suit this horse. This is a Brisbane Derby winner. Can sit a lot closer with Nash on board now, and at $23, he's one for your exotics. The 3-year-old here, Cielo Wolf, we'll go with, is in the field. Hard to give this horse any chance. Don't get me wrong, back-to-back seconds have been good, and looked the winner last start against Riff Rocket, but back 400 meters, 7-day backup for a 3-year-old. I'm just worried his potential's not quite up to these, but I'm very keen via Sistina. Final thoughts, Matty?
I can't wait for this race. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. As I said, I'm really not writing off these Australian horses over the 2,000 meters. I think we're going to see a very, very good international horse up against the best that we've got to offer over a similar distance. So a couple of up and comers, as you mentioned, Nico Valikas and Types. I think they'll definitely put in a run as well. But yeah, looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to how far. Well, Declan Bates is going to get the ride perfect, so we know that. It's just how much of a head start Via Sistina is going to give Pride of Jenny. I think they're going to be out the back, but yeah, it's going to be a cracking that last 400. It's going to be yeah, it's going to be really good watching. I'm trying to think of the word, and it just wouldn't come. Hair on the back of your spine, sort of tingling. I think it'll be. You won't even have to have a bet, but you'll be having a yell. That's for sure. Good race. Race 9, Group 1, Queen of the Turf, 1,600 meters. Matty, take it away.
Yeah, mate. Letitia, look, it blew up with the tempo in the Australian Cup. 2,000 meters back to 1,600 meters here. Interesting. Has been done. So don't write the horse off, but definitely one to take into consideration. Zougotcha, first up, we were on. It was
Mm.
absolutely fantastic. And it dropped off a little bit second up, but still got the job done. Well, I wasn't on that day because I was expecting it to drop off even further. But in seeing that worm, well, it will be absolutely peaking here third up. And with its pet distance at 1,600 meters, definitely needs some consideration. Tropical Squall has been fantastic. It's 2 runs back as well. It finds itself third up. And again, expecting a big run from it. Well, the one at value, Macarena, is the one that I wouldn't talk people out of. And it could be the value around that $14 mark. It's been exceptionally consistent, this preparation. Well, I could probably go through another 5 or 6 horses in this field, but overall, I'm really happy to be back in Zougotcha and Tropical Squall, both third up. I think they're going to have absolutely sensational runs. And again, you could have something small on Macarena at that $14 mark, but Zougotcha and Tropical Squall will be my main plays in this race. Worm, how did you see this one?
Yeah, this is a pretty good addition. I like it. This race being a weight for age race, a tissue, I think looks to be great value at around the $5 mark, considering this is the highest handicap rater of the race. He's a 114 rater. Most of these are around the 110, 90s, and it's pretty much level weights because of weight for age. 3-year-olds having a bit of an allowance of a 2.5. But yeah, I just think best horse, Shin On, the Australian Cup. It was a good run. Can't knock it any iota. Just got beaten by 2 better ones, and yeah, back to 1,600. I think just ticks every box for this. Uh, I've got to have a little something on Samana here, especially I like this horse in the Doncaster last week. I was giving him a real big push at double figure odds. Last start hit the front. Jockey had to go early because the horse was absolutely traveling and no other horse was taking him into the race. So he had to peel out, make a run. He was in front with 100 meters to go and just died on his run. Great barrier to find a good spot. And I think at the $12, it's something little you can have a saver on. Tropical Squall. We'll try and make every post a winner like it did last start. Only went down by a small margin to Zougotcha and Samana. So Matty's pushing Zougotcha and Tropical Skull. So I think you got to put Samana in if you have any exotics. Champion Nessa brings up the Melbourne form. Was unlucky last start. Getting the price to find out, especially if you do like the Melbourne form. But I'm with a tissue. Final thoughts, Matty?
Yeah, no, tissue, and definitely in terms of the rating in this field is definitely the class, and it's the proven group horse within this field. Um, every race is a group race, and you don't generally find it out of the top 5. So definitely see how you've landed on a tissue in this one.
Uh, I just Zoo got you the only knock I had on it was 1,500, and he just wanted that line. Now extra 100. I know he won a Group 1 as a 3-year-old at 1,600 on a heavy 8. And he was beaten 4 lengths in a Doncaster at 1,600 last year. I just don't know if he really wants 1,600, but hey, I'm happy to be wrong if you're going to win, Matty. But yeah, I just hope the
I
tissue's the
might,
one over
yeah,
the
look,
top.
again, I understand what you mean about that, wanting the line, but that was second up, so I wasn't
Yeah,
even expecting it
yeah.
to be winning that race. So I got no issues with the 1,600. And third up, I think that's the key for this horse. So yeah, I think I'd be very surprised if it's not finishing the top 5 either.
Good point. Second up, we know how deadly Waller is third and fourth up, which Zugochu is third up and the tissue is fourth up. So we might be having a ding dong battle down the home straight.
Nothing
Around
wrong with
the
that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. One of us is going to be right. Around the grounds, Matty, have you got any?
Yeah, mate, heading across to Adelaide, and we're starting to warm up over there, and we've got a few very keen eyes within our community over in Adelaide. So I'm putting them on notice that they better be providing the community with some absolute ripping tips across the next month over in Adelaide. But mate, I found one in race number 4, Stratton Angel. Now, this horse is only a few lengths behind Osmosis in the Coolmore, and it shows you what Stokes thinks of this horse if it's sending it across to a Coolmore. Now, there's only a few of these horses in this field that have ever raced in group company. Really, it's a benchmark race, and you've got Stratton Angel, who's only a few lengths behind Osmosis in a Group 1 and been racing consistently in group and listed company. So for me, Worm, at 350, I think the only danger is barrier number 1. It needs to get out and mate doesn't get too far back. And then on the corner, make sure it finds a bit of space. But I think Stratton Angel at 350 is definitely a play. Worm, just one I wanted to mention. It's one of our favourites up in Sydney in the Midway Championship final. Tabby Time. Now, I guess it's a question for you. Have we seen the best of Tabby Time, or are we just mad not taking the $6 on offer?
We are both pretty mad people, but no, I think 550 is a bet. And if you can get above $1.80 the place, go your hardest. But gamble
Glad it
responsibly.
wasn't just me.
I think you just got to scratch last start. I know we were pushing it $1.50 in a benchmark 88 and it went under, but this has been its grand final. As soon as it crossed the line, I think it was Ron Duffy on Sky Thoroughbred Central said his grand final is the Midway Championship. And as soon as he said it, I'm like, wow, wish we knew that before the race, because no one mentioned it before the race. Yeah, I think barrier 16, we're going to find out where he lands. If he can find a good spot with D Gibbons on board, yeah, 550 is bloody stupid. I know Territory Express is 440, coming out of a Group 2 Doncaster Prelude. Democracy Manifest won the race. It went down by 0.1. Totally understand. Held up in the straight. I get it. Good barrier. Zach Lloyd on board, but man, Tabby Time was SPing $1.45, $1.80, $2.70, $3, and now you're getting $5.50 for, I think, a field that's a bit easier than what it's been meeting. So scrap last start. I think it's an auto bet.
Like it. Glad we're aligned on that one. That is me done for arena rounds.
Beautiful. I haven't got any around the grounds at the moment. I need more time at Bendigo. It's big fields, so it's hard to align with all the different field. But I know this horse is $1.40 on Saturday, Bold Bastille. But I think we've just got to give a bit of credit to the Hayes team here and how well they've placed this horse. Now I know he's a 2-year-old, but he is going on to winning over 500,000 in prize money for the races that he has already won. Now that is just smart placement. They could have easily sent this to Golden Slipper Day, burnt the absolute crap out of this horse, and it probably never comes back the same horse. Now they've just picked apart the English 2-year-old race worth 500K on Cox Plate Day. Tick. Won the Flemington race down the straight. That was worth 176K, tick. Then won at Caulfield last start, 176K again, tick. So I think we just got to talk about well placement, looking after this horse, and just racking up close to $1 million in prize money now, close to. So, and it's meeting a bunch of C grades. If it hasn't trained off or anything, it's going to be winning another 100 and something. What is it? 137,000. There you go for first. So well done to the Hayes team. Well placed. Very smart operation. No around the grounds for me. Multi. Well, you don't fix what's not broken, if that makes friggin' sense. I don't think it does, but we've got to stay with the same plan for me. I'm going to go Western Bulldogs to beat Essendon in the footy, and I'm going to take Via Sistina to win the Queen Elizabeth. Maddie, what are you throwing in?
We'll go across Adelaide and Stratton Angel to place in race number 4. Then we'll be going to the turf, I think it is, with Zugochu, the place.
Beautiful. So that comes to $8 for the 4-leg multi. So Western Bulldogs to beat Essendon, Stratton Angel race 4, Morfordville number 1 the place, Randwick race 8 number 8 Via Sistina the win, and then Randwick race 9 number 2 Zugochu the place. $8. Last week I think we went 2 out of 3. Yeah, we missed one. Verona.
Ooh.
3 out of 4 we went. So that's all right. We will go again. 3 out of 4 this week. We'll be right. Pineapple. This is a tough one because it's not the easiest card to pick apart. Bendigo, we don't know how that track's going to play at the moment. Adelaide, the bloody good fields in Adelaide, and I'm looking forward to diving deeper into that tomorrow night. Brisbane, they're starting to heat up. They're going to hand over shortly. So they're starting to find their little races. So I'm going to go Sydney. We're going to go to race 9, the Queen of the Turf. We're going to land on a Tissue. I just think this is the best horse in the race, and I love backing horses that are the best horse in the race. Clearly, the rating of the race, 1600 tick, 4th up tick, B Shin tick. I just think $5 is utter crazy. I can't believe the odds we're getting. I thought this would be marked favourite once scratched from the Queen Elizabeth. Yeah, I don't know if I've got my beer goggles on and I'm seeing a completely different way to how the market is, but geez, I think $5 is a great price for a Tissue. Maddie, any thoughts?
Mate, as I said, I can definitely see how you found the horse. Definitely the class within the horse. So, mate, back yourself in. And as you said, nice price for the pineapple.
Yeah, buddy oath. Hopefully it holds that price and I can go heavy other place, but more importantly, this will just win. So get on it. Race 9, Randwick, number 1, a Tissue. Any final thoughts on a massive weekend, Matty, of racing?
Yeah, what are we? Day number 2 of the championship. So looking forward to it. And as you said, it's starting to warm up a little bit over in Adelaide, over in Ascot. So it's races to be seen everywhere at the moment, not just in Victoria, because we are cooling off a little bit here. But that's where we go abroad and broaden our horizons. But looking forward to a good weekend.
Yeah, buddy oath. It should be a ripper. Yeah, it's just your head's going to be on a swivel stick. Races everywhere and anywhere and punting everywhere and anywhere. Yeah. We'll be back next week for, is it the All Age next week?
I think it is. I think it is.
Day 3 of the championships. So yeah, stay tuned, punters. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast. Please like, subscribe, swipe left, however you want to play it. More importantly, join the WhatsApp group and we'll be back next week. Ciao.